A humanoid robot that does cartwheels just won a TIME Best Invention award. It costs less than a used motorcycle. Something had to give at that price. Every engineer will tell you cost cuts always show up somewhere. In the joints, the brain, or the battery. The question is where Unitree hid theirs and whether it actually matters. Right now, the humanoid robot market is splitting into two tiers: six-figure research platforms and a new wave of machines built for actual people to own. The Unitree R1 humanoid robot sits right at that fault line. If this pricing model works, it resets what affordable robotics means for the next 2 years and changes who gets to experiment with this technology first. Unitree isn't new to this. The company built its name on quadruped robots before pivoting hard into humanoids, and the R1 is their answer to a question the industry has danced around. How cheap can a capable humanoid actually get? At 123 centimeters and around 27 kilograms, it's smaller than most flagship humanoids. Closer to a large child than an adult. That's not an accident. Among the cheapest humanoid robot 2026 has produced, the R1 starts at $4,900, undercutting nearly every competitor by a wide margin. Here's the part that resets assumptions. It still performs backflips. The R1 runs 20 to 26 degrees of freedom in its standard build, jumping to 40 on the EDU version. For context, that's fewer joints than the most expensive research humanoids, but enough for full-body acrobatics. Unitree R1 specs show an 8-core CPU with GPU support, handling that in real time. No external computer required. Most people see fewer degrees of freedom and assume less capable. What they're actually looking at is a different design philosophy entirely. Optimized for motion, not manipulation. The onboard brain is Unitree's UniFo-LM multimodal system, paired with binocular stereo cameras and a 4-microphone array for spatial audio. Add the optional NVIDIA Jetson Orin module, and this becomes an actual research platform running ROS2. This is where the future of humanoid robots gets interesting. Not in the flashy stunts, but in giving universities and independent developers a machine they can actually afford to experiment on. Here's where the trade-off shows up. Battery runtime sits at roughly 1 hour, and dexterous hands are an EDU add-on, not standard. For a warehouse job, that's a deal breaker. For a university lab or a developer testing locomotion code, it barely registers. The Unitree R1 price makes it one candidate for the best humanoid robot under $5,000, but only if you know exactly what you're buying it for. So we're back to the real question. What did Unitree actually cut to hit $4,900? Because as AI humanoid robots 2026 gets more crowded, the honest answer to that question is worth more than any spec sheet. The answer: Unitree didn't cut capability, they cut purpose. The battery life and optional hands mean this was never built to fold laundry or work a factory line. It was built to be the first humanoid robot that people can actually put their hands on. That's the trade nobody advertises. This isn't a worse robot for less money. It's a research and education tool wearing the marketing of a consumer product, and that distinction changes everything about who should buy one. If breakdowns like this are useful to you, this channel is where they'll keep showing them. The real story isn't that a robot can do a cartwheel for under $5,000. It's that affordable humanoid robots are no longer a contradiction in terms. Unitree just proved the price floor for this category was artificial, held up by margins rather than physics. Every competitor now has to answer for why their humanoid costs 4 times as much. That pressure doesn't disappear. It's going to define the next wave of robots we cover here. If you know someone who thinks humanoid robots are still a decade away from being ownable, send them this.